All right, welcome to another 902 gaming video. I've been going for a little while, but I decided to come back now. Now that there's some new stuff going on, I wanted to let the format shake out a little bit. Standard and Alchemy. When I stopped making videos for a little bit, the format kind of was a little bit stale for me. Not that there wasn't possibilities, but the format seemed to devolve into one or two decks, and trying to play and create new decks, you basically start going down to the same single cards over and over and over again, because trying something new doesn't really work out that well. And that's what will happen when the card pool gets bigger. And today we have more spoilers. It looks like there's spoilers for new Capana, which I'll probably do a video on. But this one is going to be about the new rebalancing for Alchemy, which actually just came out yesterday. And we'll kind of see what's actually going on. I haven't looked at these yet. This is the first time, so if I get something wrong, and I know of some of the spoiler videos before that I've done, I've gotten a few cards wrong. I kind of read them wrong, but I'm trying to give an honest first impression rather than, I read them and study them, see what other people have to say, and then come and make my video. I'd rather just sort of fresh impression of it. Again, I'm not a big Alchemy fan, but I like going over the stuff and the changes and stuff like that. Maybe at some point they'll actually make it interesting and not as random as I've said in other videos. So first up we have decks built around the warrior and equipment theme. Introduced Zendikar Rising are especially susceptible to removal. Okay. And the equipped goblins are oft too expensive to recover from the warriors being removed. Most of the changes for warrior equipment deck. Now, the big problem that I had with the warriors to begin with is the fact that there's not a lot of good ones, at least not in standard. Again, historic is whatever. And with Alchemy, there was a few ones added. Warrior is one of the biggest classes that seems to be lacking really, really good cards for the like the party decks and stuff. So there's a couple of good ones, but they kind of go against what the other colors are trying to do with the parties. But this one's just trying to be probably the red-white equipment deck. I'm assuming that's what they're going to target with this. So we have Arm Scavenger, beginning of your upkeep, draft a card. Okay. And then the equip abilities you activate cost one less. So this one kind of fits in that mold as well. I don't know if this necessarily needed to be updated. But we'll see anyway. The Armory Veteran gains ward, pay 2 life. Again, this card wasn't really played. Ward is a very powerful mechanic, but I don't know if this is necessarily quite good enough. This does punish after anything with ward of paying life does punish the opponent after you've actually taken damage from it for the first time, and then the second time you're basically taking if you don't hit it right away, you're essentially taking an extra 2 damage from whatever removal spell you use. So it looks like they gain. Okay, so the white one gained just a ward of 1. Okay, I don't think it still makes them playable, but then again, I was wrong about some of the dungeon ones that they changed before, so we'll see if it actually does make them playable. This one, I don't think it had. Yeah, this one never had this second ability before, and I don't think it makes it more playable. It probably does make it more playable, but how much more playable is kind of up in the air. So Brunor Battlehammer went to a 5/4. This card was, if it starts going, it's very, very, very powerful. And the second ability now works with Reconfigure. So each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment. Attach target equipment you control to target creature you control. Activated only as a sorcery. Second ability now works with Configure. With Reconfigure. I guess it depends on the working that it was before. We reworded a bit ability to work with Reconfigure. To target creature you control. Okay. I'm not sure. I thought that's what the ability was before. Yeah, the 4 mana, the 4 toughness is actually pretty good. Expedition Supplier. I think this was one of the playable ones. Now triggers off humans and warriors. Okay. Whenever one or more humans and or warriors enter the battlefield under your control, conjure a card named Utility Knife. Okay. Again, I don't know if this is going to make the card playable. So the Goma Fata Vanguard, when it attacks, target creature an opponent controls with power less than a equal number of warriors and equipment you control can't block this turn. Again, this isn't. I don't think this really makes the deck playable. But again, we'll see. Like, again, I said the descent, the dungeon mechanic, I didn't think would end up being playable, and it was actually pretty busted. Combine the +1/+1 and trample. Okay, so it either gets +1/+1 and trample. I think it was 3 separate abilities before. Yeah. The Kargan Ward Leader gains Ward 1 and gives other warriors Ward 1. Okay, this was playable before anyway. I think the Ward 1 is actually really good. So it'll probably be on the strength of this card. Since they focus on equipment. Okay. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients, now grabs warrior and an equipment. Okay, that's pretty strong. -3 now counts warriors and equipment. So you get a +1/+1 warrior. Okay, that stays the same. So you get to basically draw 2 cards off of the -2, which is pretty good. Again, these 2 cards seem to be the crux right now, just as going through these changes. Yeah, warriors and equipment you control. Okay. Yep. So plate, armor. Okay, so this is 2 mana is pretty good here. 3 mana was actually pretty high. So it's kind of funny though that a lot of these are, like if you look, the warriors are basically from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Like a lot of the cards that are being changed here. I think Adventures in the Forgotten Realms was a hugely underpowered set. We have the same thing here. I don't think this really does anything. It gives these cards are played a lot in, at least in standard. Like the warrior equipment stuff seems to be played quite a bit. Mostly just casual. I didn't really play against it in ranked. This might push it into ranked. I'm not sure. So these having these abilities, or changing these abilities on these cards, or changing the mana cost on these cards, will make it better for the players that like playing it. I don't necessarily think that this is going to push it over the top. Maybe if this went to like 1 mana or something, maybe this got reduced, maybe a bit higher thing. This is probably going to be, again, these 2 are the big cruxes of the deck. They have the biggest boost as well. So then we have elves. Decks built around Kaldheim's elf. Like options to experiment with different configurations. Well, yeah, basically there's not a lot of good elves. Elves. Starting lower is up to 4. Okay, that's fine. Puts +1, puts 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 elf, up from 1, and -6 becomes -7. Okay. Not a big change. The 4 loyalty is pretty good. The +1 is probably also really good, because you make an elf token and then next turn it becomes a 3/3, which is pretty powerful, I think. Herald unites the elf. Chapter 1 now mills 5 cards, up from 3. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good because it actually gives you a bigger chance to hit. I think that was one of the biggest problems of the first chapter. I think this should have been 3 mana as well, but it's probably be too powerful at 3 mana. Okay, so what do we have here? Elderfang Ritualist. Costs 2 mana. Okay. Can now return Tyvar Kell from your graveyard to your hand. Must exile itself to return a card. So when it dies, you can exile it. Return an elf or Tyvar. Okay. Well, that's neat. Again, I don't think it makes it playable, but it might. Scamfire Avenger. Yeah, this is good. This is a good change here. I think the non-token stuff, especially when you're dealing with a lot of cards that create elf tokens, is kind of terrible. Kind of really bad design. So this becomes a 3/4. Yeah, I think this card was always really good too, but the problem with this card was you had to actually spend your rare wild cards to get it. It didn't come any packs or anything like that. At least after the set was released. I don't know if it was available prior to that, but if I wanted, I had to spend wild cards. I think I did actually, just because I wanted to try the elves out. Turns out there's really not a lot of good elves. So, so then we have Herald, King of Scamfire. Now looks at 7. Okay, that's really good. Enter battle top 7. Reveal elf warrior Tyvar from them putting your hand. Yeah, I think that's also really good. Just gives you an option to hit more cards. So obviously pushing the black-green a bit more. Black-green mill, maybe. That creates 3 elves. Okay, this was already really good, I think. The Return Upon the Tide was... Creating 2 1/1s was good already. So this actually makes it a lot better, obviously. Yeah, I mean, returning like a Herald or returning a Canopy Technician, or Tactician rather, is pretty good. That was one of the best combos, quote-unquote combos of the Elf deck that I had. This was another card that was actually really good, the Thormantle Striker. Yeah, 4 mana is pretty good too here. Reduction. Was it this one? Oh, it might not have been this one. I thought there was one where they lose life or something like that. But that one's still good too. This basically becomes the what's it called? The Kavu, Flame Tongue Kavu. Essentially, it's 4 mana, 4/3. Actually, I think the Flame Tongue Kavu was like a 4/2, but it's essentially the same thing. Except I guess I can deal with Planeswalkers. Elderleaf Mentor costs 3 mana, now 2/2. Enters the battlefield for 1. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Elven Bow, you may pay 1 from 2. Okay, yeah, I mean that was, yeah. I mean 3 mana was too much for a 2/3 with reach. Was it reach? Yeah. So 2 mana for a 2/3 reach is basically the standard. Then Skemfar Elder Hall. 4 mana. This essentially is now 5, which is that is better, but it's still not. I don't think it's playable. It might be, but I don't think that it is. And this card was actually playable before this change. I think this is the one. Yeah, it was. Yeah, this one was actually pretty good. So again, we have the black-green. Essentially, all the elves are. Again, it looks like more. Actually, a lot of Kaldheim. Yeah, a lot of Kaldheim cards. Obviously, they had the most elves. And then we have just regular cards. So it's a 0/3. Now gives a creature base power 3. Okay, so this basically is a 1 mana. It makes it a 3/3. Yeah, that's really strong. Yep, that's really strong now. 0/2 and a 2/2. It's making it a 3/3 is much stronger. This kind of will complement the Delver of Secrets as well. The Spell Satchel, second ability costs 2 to activate from 3. Okay, and requires moving 2 counters from 3. Okay, so 2 mana, tap, remove 2, and so whenever you cast a spell. Okay, that's interesting. Remove the enters battlefield's tapped. Yep, that's good. That's a good choice. Change target player to target opponent. Okay, I don't know if there was... Oh, okay. Yep, that's fine. That's really good, actually. That's yeah, definitely quality of life. So nothing major, no major changes with this one here. Again, I'm not a big Alchemy fan. I think Alchemy is kind of a bit too random for my taste. Those changes, they're whatever. They're fine. They'll definitely help players that like playing those cards and that already have them. And I'm sure by the data that they actually have, they can see that a lot of players are playing like warriors and equipment and stuff like that. So it'll help those players quite a bit. Anyways, that'll do for this video. I'm going to be making some more as I can. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.